Hi guys, so this is going to be a video about Octopus Energy, and you're probably looking at it because, like me, you got an electric vehicle. So I'm going to share a few things about my journey through it. I'm doing on this on my phone, and it's a one-shot edit, so forgive any mistakes or stutters, but hopefully it'll be all right. So first of all, you'll probably see loads of these links, but if you haven't got a link from a friend or someone you know, um, please use mine. It gives you £50 credit on your Octopus bill, and I get 50 quid as well, so it helps pay for bits and bobs. So thanks, and I don't mind if you don't use it, but if you do, I'd be greatly appreciated. So what I wanted to talk about was a couple of things. So I accidentally moved to Octopus before I had an electric vehicle, and then I moved away from Octopus Energy, and then I moved back to them again. And I wanted to explain a bit about that process and how it went. So you'll probably hear from other Octopus customers that it's a bit of a journey to get onto Octopus, mainly because you need a smart meter before you can use any of their smart tariffs. So the reason Octopus is good is because of its electricity tariff. The gas one isn't very good, and you're best off splitting the two. So have your gas with one supplier and your electricity with Octopus. Octopus is very competitive on the electricity front, but not so much on the gas front. So I've actually gone with People Energy for gas, which I've never heard of, but it's green energy, as green as gas can be, and it's fair pricing. So that's why I went with them. But there's just do a compare the market type thing, and you'll find a good one for you. But on the electricity side, Octopus is awesome. So they've got a couple of tariffs, and firstly, I moved to Octopus just because the electricity price on the compare the market was showing Octopus to be the best supplier, and that was before I had an electric car. I did have a smart meter from my old supplier. I can't even remember who that was, but I think it was N-Power. And it was a SMET 1 meter, but it was a Liberty 100 meter, and they are the only SMET 1 compatible readers with Octopus. Why that's important? Because Octopus works on timings, so certain times your electricity is cheaper. You need a smart meter to be able to do that, and it needs to be one which isn't stuck to your old supplier. And if you try and get one from Octopus, that's where most people have a bit of a headache, because they've got a very limited amount of capacity to change people over to electric meters, and it causes a bit of a bottleneck for them to taking people on, and you're stuck with a very simple tariff, much like one you'd be on already. And what you want is one which can monitor your timings. So there's two main tariffs, which I'll talk about, and don't worry, I'll get off this page in a second. And they are Agile and Go. Go is very simple. It just has a set period. I think it's between 12 and 4:30, where it's 5p per kilowatt hour, which makes filling a car very, very cheap. And the rest of the time, I think it's like 15p a kilowatt hour, which is pretty reasonable. But you could find a cheaper tariff if it was just 15p all the time. But the 5p, if you know you're going to charge your car overnight every night, and you want to be certain when you're going to charge it, Go is probably the way to go. Although saying that, I'm on Agile, and I thought Go would be good for me, but because I always charge overnight. But actually, Agile works out cheaper just generally, as long as you can avoid using electricity between 4 and 7 p.m. And that's pretty easy to do, because I don't really know why lots of people use energy at 4 to 7. So if you're using electric water, you do that in the morning. The only thing I can think of is tea and microwaves at dinner time, but they're not really heavy power uses like the electric car or electric heating. But anyway, if you can do that, it's definitely worth a go. If you can't be that flexible about when you're using electricity and when you're not, it's probably not going to work out to your benefit. So I'm going to change off this page because I've been on it too long. I'll stick the link on my comments, so if you want to use it, please use it. And as I say, you get 50 quid off your bill, and I'll get 50 quid off mine, which is great. But what I would, one more thing before I move off this page, if I can figure out how to do it, I would say that when you go to Octopus, what I would recommend is asking them to put you on a lower, what's the right way of describing this? Underestimate how much you want to pay each month, because you'll get some starting credits, either that £50 credit from my referral code or whichever referral code. I got £100 credit for doing a leased vehicle through them, and that will last quite a long time on electricity bills, and they won't adjust the payment they take from you. Even though the billing is agile, the payments they take from you is still fixed. And the only way I got that release from Octopus was when I left and rejoined. So I left because I was without an electric vehicle at the time, and it didn't really make sense. I found a cheaper tariff, so I moved away. And then as soon as I did that, my electric vehicle delivery date was confirmed, so I switched back again. And thankfully I got an extra £100 credit for having an electrical vehicle through Octopus Go. But I learned from the first time, and I reduced how much I was going to pay to like the minimum charge, and I'm still in credit now. So it's lasted me a year already. So definitely underestimate it. I mean, they'll contact you if you're short, so don't worry about that. But getting the credit out, I think it's only possible to really get the credit out when you leave. So you're best off underestimating it and using up that credit. Right. So this is a third-party app, but it's kind of supported by Octopus as it's on their website. It's a recommended provider, and what they do is they take a reading from your smart meter, and this basically looks at how Agile works. So this graph here will show the price of Agile through the day, and as you can see, sometimes it's 10p kilowatt hour, and sometimes it drops to lower than 5p. Sometimes it goes negative. Not today, but sometimes it does. That's quite rare. It's mainly in summer. I think in winter we're starting to see the prices are generally a bit higher. And you can see this peak here. I can't really mark it here. That's when it's 4 to 7, and it does quite often go up to 35p, which is where they set a cap. But that's all right if you can avoid using it at that time, because most of the time it's still under that 15p. And that's what was quite interesting to me, because I thought I'd only really save when I was charging the electric car. But actually, most of the time it is below 15p most days. So most of the time I'm saving when I'm using electricity, and the electric car being charged at night is fine. And it's still normally about 5 or 6p when I charge it, and sometimes it can be negative and I can get paid to charge the car. So you can see down here, you can see so tonight, for example, it's going down to 2.77 pence a kilowatt hour. So I've got an AMI charger, and they are really good, and they work really well with Octopus, and Octopus provide a discount for them as well. But they will automatically adjust for the lowest prices. So they'll take these readings, and the same way this app has picked up the information, the AMI charger will pick up this information from Octopus and tell the car when to charge and when not to charge. It works on most cars as long as they have the ability to time charge. But the AMI socket itself will communicate when to switch the power on and off, so you don't have to switch it on and off. I think that is the only charger that works well with Octopus Agile. Other ones you'd have to manually switch it on, switch it off, switch it on, switch it off. So if you haven't got a wall charger already, I'd definitely recommend the AMI chargers. They're not the prettiest ones on the block, but they are pretty smart in terms of managing electricity usage if you're on an agile tariff. So what I also want to show you on this app, so this is a third-party app. I'll just mention this because you do have to pay to access it, but it's like $1.99 for the basic one, and then you can get a subscription for $7.99, I think it is, which really, I don't like subscriptions, and even the person who created this says she doesn't like subscriptions, but it's, I'm probably going to make that money back, but it's not really that which is driving it. It's just interesting. I think that's all I can say about it. It's just interesting. So, for example, if you click on here, you'll see how much energy is being produced by nuclear, wind, gas, and the cheaper times tend to be when it's renewable energies, and the more expensive times is when it's heavier in gas. So if I skip forward a little bit, so this is as it goes on through the night into daytime, you can see the gas becomes more prevalent and the renewable becomes less. I don't know why really. I guess there's just more demand during the daytime, so gas is more prevalent. But yeah, it's just interesting, and this is another interesting bit. So it looks back at your history and tells you how much you would have saved if you were compared to a normal tariff, and how much your average kilowatt price is per day. So it's just really nifty data analytics, and you can see this one day, I don't really know what was going on here, but I basically paid 15 pence a day, 15 pence per kilowatt hour, which is like a standard tariff. It's not because I used a lot in the peak hours, which is where it's 35p, it's 4 to 7, but I just had a fair bit during the day, and that kind of drove the price up. But you can manage it if you can be really flexible. I'm not that flexible, but it's still making me a decent saving. So let me show you the report it does, but if you can just see 46%, 22%, 17%, and that's in winter, but in summer, I can get to summer whenever it was sunny, it's generally about 40-50% of the electricity bill I'm saving, but you know, it's 50% of £1.50 a day. It's not going to change the world, but it's helpful. Right, let me show you this energy report, which it does. So this is the energy report. I don't really know it's kind of reasonably interesting, but not going to change your world. It tells you how your energy is tracking. So, for example, the bits which I found interesting on here, I knew that the price was relatively stable, but I can see it's going up now. So summer's cheaper, winter's more expensive. What also tends to happen is Saturdays and Sundays tend to have cheap electricity, and during the week it's slightly more expensive. And what I found quite interesting was this bit down here, which is about your base load of electricity. Now, I could have always worked this out because I had a smart meter and I could have looked at it, and it's telling me that in the background there's about 200 watts running, 250 watts, but that works out to 218 kilowatt hours a year, which is quite a lot, and I'm not actually sure what I'm using that electricity on. So it's things like TVs on standby and fridges and freezers, but I don't have that many, so I don't really know where that electricity is going. So that's something I'm going to look into and see if I can tweak down somehow. It might just be switching off some plugs, which I'm not using, because I have LEDs everywhere, and it says the average is 105 to 120. So yeah, I'm going to have a look at that. Anyway, that's interesting for me. Let me go back, see what else I can tell you on this app. So yeah, now I'm just generally impressed by this app, and also Octopus. So I bought at least my car through Octopus. I just thought it'd be neater to have my whole solution through them, and they are kind of quite innovative. So if I go back to here, I think this is one of the common problems with EV owners is that we have an app for every single charge station around the world. So one of the things Octopus is trying to do is produce a card which links to your electricity bill, and that card will be able to be used on most of these services. At the moment, it's not that many. It's like those charge posts and I think one of the main providers, which I can't even remember, but they have got their own app and not own app, their own card. And what that will do is link to your electricity bill. So when you tap your card, it'll go straight to your electricity bill. You won't have to do a separate payment. I think that's pretty good. If they can get it to work. I mean, they can't all be one card for everything. So one of them will have to take that credit. Yeah. What else do I want to say about Octopus?